Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. Fears are growing for a 4-year-old Tasmanian girl missing in the state's southeast for more than 24 hours. Close to 100 SES and police personnel have spent night and day on the ground and in the sky searching for Shayla Phillips.
Locals were searching for signs of life as their small Stormley community became the site of a large-scale police operation.
But I've been searching there this morning. I've only just got back through. We've got quite a few acreage out the back here, and I was just hoping to see a little footprint in the tracks. I covered all the tracks and that, but yeah, there's nothing there.
Many were confronted by news that one of their own, 4-year-old Shayla Phillips, had vanished from her family backyard yesterday afternoon after playing with her neighbours' 2 dogs.
Having children and grandchildren grow up down here, you sort of, yes, you just don't know what to expect.
One missing dog was tracked down last night, but the 4-year-old hasn't been found. SES and police saturated the remote area in the Tasman Peninsula, searching on foot while the rescue helicopter scaled from above, assisted by a number of external resources.
Our drone capacity has a thermal sensing capacity also that can be used to detect movement in a heavily wooded area. According to the dive squad last night, there is a number of dams on the property. There's 4 in close proximity and they've been cleared overnight.
Toiling through rough terrain in an effort to find answers.
The area around here is very undulating pasture land, but it's also very dense woodland, and those areas have to be searched. Police say the family remains hopeful their very happy and healthy young girl will be found alive and well. She enjoys a game of hide and seek, and there has been occasions in the past where they haven't been able to locate her, and she's been absent for about 15 minutes, but this occasion it's obviously a lot longer than that. At the time of her disappearance, she was wearing a cream-coloured shirt, pink leggings and gumboots, but authorities say there's no reason to suspect anyone was involved in the disappearance. If there had been some, untoward activity, the dogs wouldn't have been gone, they would have been here. So no, we're not raising those concerns at the moment.
And we're live now to our reporter Grace Evans. Grace, what's happening there at the moment?
Well, Louise, police and SES are continuing their extensive search efforts to find Shayla Phillips in this remote area of the Tasman Peninsula. They're going to be deploying extra resources onto the ground as well as revisiting previous search areas. There's still been no sighting of the 4-year-old girl. That comes almost 30 hours on since her disappearance was first reported to authorities. Now, police hold grave concerns for her welfare. We're expecting cooler temperatures here tonight. They are urging anyone with information or who may have seen her to come forward.
A 37-year-old New South Wales man has been charged, accused of importing large quantities of illicit drugs into Tasmania. The arrest follows a lengthy investigation by specialist officers from Tasmania, New South Wales and the Australian Federal Police. It's alleged the drug trafficking began in May 2019.
He was using all means of corridors into the state, including the air, post and human couriers. 4.5 kilos of methamphetamine, approximately 2 kilos of cocaine and some heroin.
4 luxury cars and a motorcycle were also seized in Sydney as part of the investigation. The man is due to be extradited to Hobart tomorrow. Tasmania's COVID case numbers has hit one of the highest daily records since the pandemic began. It's prompting a reminder for parents to get their children vaccinated, but some doctors are warning the upcoming flu season could also be worse than previously thought.
COVID has been on the minds of Tasmanians for the past 2 years, but now doctors are bracing for a possible spike in flu cases during winter.
Because the immunisation rates have decreased over the last 2 years because everyone's been concentrating on getting COVID immunisations, that we might be in for a bad flu season.
Dr Jackson is warning the flu can be deadly for vulnerable age groups, including children and the elderly. With jabs available next month, Tasmanians can book in for a COVID booster at the same time.
The best time to get it is mid-April on, because we know you get the best cover, a bit like COVID, for the first 3 to 4 months. So you want to time that so you've got the best cover when the flu season hits us.
Tasmania recorded 2,009 new infections overnight and sadly one more death. The AMA says it's up to every one of us to stay safe, particularly children who are more likely to spread the virus.
People need to have the children vaccinated. We have a low uptake in the 5 to 11 age group. Only 62% have had their first dose, and that is concerning.
But there are calls for public health to reconsider crowd caps for major events ahead of major tourism drawcards like Dark Mofo's Winter Festival. The 3-day Supercars event usually attracts a 50,000 strong crowd, but this weekend is expected to see just 5,000 a day.
If it's going to maintain a cap, explain why. Explain why that inconsistency is there with some of the other indoor events, or indeed if you are going to make the change and lift those restrictions, better to give people really clear certainty now to start planning.
Public Health are advising government that they're currently reviewing those models with a view to taking a fresh look at them. Just for the moment, they are satisfied in advising us that the limits are in place at the moment are appropriate.
A sign the event's schedule will eventually return to normal, but the government says that relies on Tasmanians doing the right thing. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
2 state government ministers have apologised to a victim survivor of child sexual abuse for groaning in Parliament when a question was asked on her behalf 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry for the impact this has had on Miss Geggs and other victim survivors.
I am sorry for the impact that has had on Ms Geggs. Thank you.
Tiffany Skeggs has accepted their apology and says it's now time to focus on the upcoming Commission of Inquiry. Launceston's historic Albert Hall will undergo an $11 million makeover with designs released today. Construction will be staged over 3 phases with plans to open up the Heritage Hall to the City Park.
We're going to remove all this sort of 1980s extension and redo it in a way that really links back to the park. It'll have a continuous open sort of window off to the park there and a significantly larger foyer.
It's hoped the revamped layout will draw in more functions and events.
The conferencing facilities and the need for improved conferencing facilities in northern Tasmania is really important, and we see this as a really usable space that will be able to be used for that purpose as well.
The facelift is part of the Launceston City deal, with upgrades expected to be complete by the end of next year. Save UTAS has leaked documents revealing new details about University of Tasmania's inner city move. The information, provided by UTAS workers who wish to remain anonymous, shows plans to develop an endangered swift parrot habitat and proposals for a new sewage facility. The paper's also disclosing a 3,000 parking space deficiency, which would further complicate Hobart's traffic congestion issues. A former UTAS professor says the public needs to be made aware of this scheme.
I felt quite ill after reading it. It's really, they've completely divorced from education.
UTAS officials are yet to respond. A program hitting Tasmanian schools is aiming to tackle the alarming 90% rate of negative cyber experiences. The free workshops equipping students and parents with tools for safe online usership.
TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram and more. As social media platforms skyrocket, so do the rates of online bullying. Officials reminding Tasmania's students about the importance of cyber safety.
Students have their digital life starting really early, and as soon as they can get clear messages about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate and where those borders and where those lines are, I think the better.
Now in its 10th year, the Optus Digital Thumbprint program is once again rolling through school gates.
Getting programs like us into schools is a great way to encourage that conversation, because bullying does happen.
Facilitators providing grades 5 to 12 with interactive curriculum-aligned workshops. Parents and guardians also being encouraged to monitor their child's online presence. The Digital Thumbprint program has engaged with more than 400,000 students since it first began in 2013, with workshop topics ranging from cyberbullying to online identity. Staff can select the programs best suited to their students.
The hope is that if there's a situation down the line where something happens, that they can relate back to what happened in this session.
Students, now fully immersed in online learning, are quickly realising the impact of words said behind a screen.
The more people who are using social media, there's also going to be increased amount of people being negative.
The program reiterating the age-old rule, think before you speak. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston City's retail stores are preparing for a bumper day of trade this weekend. A record 90 shops are taking part in Crazy Day sales, with entertainment, workshops and giveaways also on offer throughout the day.
It encourages people to come into the city, whereas before there's that bit of nervousness, and now it's back to its full scale, which is really amazing because we've got customers not only from Launceston but from around the state who will come up for the day.
It's really important for the economic recovery, obviously, of our city to be able to come out and support local all the time, but this is a really great way of doing it with lots of fun on a special day.
The sales frenzy kicks off at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning.
The supercars have rolled into Tasmania for this weekend's action at Symmons Plains, with one car catching everyone's eye. Bryce Fullwood's pink Holden is as bright as the young driver's future as he cements himself on the supercars roster. You can't miss the trucks making the annual pilgrimage across Bass Strait. And you definitely can't miss Bryce Fullwood's new look Holden, fuelled by pink power.
The camera's going to almost have to have sunglasses.
Even under the bonnet, you'll find the pink print. Now in his third season, the former electrician is now sparking up the championship.
If you give any of these guys an inch, they fit a car in there every time.
Surrounded by history at the National Motor Museum, Gary Jacobson is preparing to make his own when he suits up for race number 100 this weekend.
My favourite Symmons Plains memory was my first ever race win from karting.
Despite his supercars superstardom, the Shepparton local lives a humble life away from the spotlight.
I'm known as Gary the bus driver to a lot of people because I'm in the supercar on the weekend and then back driving kids to school during the week.
While journeyman Chris Pither is diving into his latest push for an ongoing role after years of flip-flopping between teams and co-driver gigs.
For me, I can take some confidence back especially from 2016 in my rookie year. I was fortunate enough to gain a pole position.
Only 4 drivers currently racing have won at Symmons Plains. Shane Van Gisbergen, Will Davison, Mark Winterbottom and Chaz Mostert. A wide open grid for a new champion to taste success at Symmons. Tasmania has embarrassed Queensland at Blunston Arena. Bo Webster single-handedly outscored the Bulls and by a big margin when he whacked 166 not out for the Tigers in their Sheffield Shield matchup. His superb innings included 21 fours and 6 sixes.
Kuhnemann to Webster, who just smashes that one over covers for 6. Why not?
Ola looked none too pleased, and for good reason. Tasmania made 422, then bowled out Queensland for just 87. Sam Rainbird the spearhead again, snaring 5 for 21. Tasmania won by an innings and 231 runs, still with a chance to make the finals. Cricket finals begin across the state tomorrow. Newtown is set to play its first final in 35 years when the team takes on South Hobart Sandy Bay in the Cricket Tasmania Premier League decider.
When I made the move a couple of years ago to Newtown, I didn't think I'd probably be in this position this quickly. But yeah, I'm very proud of where I've come from and obviously the whole team and the club.
Certainly last week showed that we can take games really deep and 3 days should only help us.
Westbury and Launceston will contest the Cricket North decider. Burnie Hurricanes and Ulverston are playing in the northwest. Tasmania's under-17 boys have won gold at track cycling's national championships. Nick Brokesome, Alex Eves, Lachlan Oliver, Dylan Rogers and Jonah Shelverton edged out Queensland in the final of the 3,000 metres team pursuit.
Evening, another coolish day today. The high 22 at Hobart Airport. The city not far behind on 21, as was Launceston. Burnie 19 and Devonport 20. Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches 21 degrees. Grove, St Helens and the Islands 20. Low Head and Strawn 19. Extensive cloud over the state today. The clearer skies over the northeast of Tasmania. Plenty of cloud over southern parts of the nation, the remnants of Charlotte over the northwest of the continent, cloud with embedded thunderstorms over New South Wales and Queensland. Tomorrow, an extensive trough remains over the mainland. High pressure zones sit to our east and over the Southern Ocean. Northwest to southwest winds will reach up to 25 knots over southern waters. Inshore afternoon sea breezes in the east, swells to 3.5 metres. Hobart a high of 23 and partly cloudy tomorrow. Same for Huonville and Campania, all on 23 tomorrow. Launceston 25 and sunny, mostly sunny for Devonport and 22 the top as well for Georgetown. Burnie 23 and mostly sunny, an early shower clearing from Strawn, 20 the maximum. Wynyard partly cloudy, 23. And for St Helens mostly sunny and 21. Fine for Swansea, 22 and 20 the high for Port Arthur. The UV at 6 and high as the sunrise to sunset time frame drops below 12 hours. On Saturday, fine apart from areas of morning fog, light winds and afternoon sea breezes. On Sunday, partly cloudy, mostly sunny though over Strawn and Bass Strait. However, showers extending statewide on Monday morning before easing later. The chance of a thunderstorm over the central east. 35 in Perth as summer continues to stretch well into autumn. Sunny in Adelaide as well, 24 the maximum. Partly cloudy for Melbourne. Showers though for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Cloudy over Hobart, 18 at the moment, 17 in Launceston. Devonport partly cloudy and 17. A lot of responsibility on my shoulders at the moment, Louise, with getting the good weather for all the cricket finals and of course Symmons Plains on the weekend. I think I can handle it.
I think we've done a pretty good job so far. Kicking off tomorrow looks good. Thanks for that, Merv. That's all your news for this Thursday night. I'll be back later on with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.